Okay, so ready, and I guess you are gonna be able to therefore jump in to the next match that was played earlier today. Not gonna be having right now a stream here. Yeah, I was gonna try to help them stream it, but they're just gonna start it soon, and they were just jumping between the games, and he didn't make it work. But well, we had another live fun match, and we're gonna be there for right now having some hopefully equally fun recorded games between Helstrevich and Symptom. Helstrevich, of course, from Deities of Death, and Symptom from Absoluts. This is gonna be the same kind of stage of the tournament, second round. You can see again Frozen Waste with 2 gold mines. I mean, like, wish something. That's very rare in the first place to get that, and actually 2 matches in a row. But nonetheless, second round of the qualification for the Voobly Champions League 3, hosted by Boit, Chrono, and plenty others, and the community. No, and of course, with the Norse in the hand of Symptom, he's gonna be playing with Loki, and Helstrevich is gonna be the same. Well, he actually isn't going to be, because Helstrevich is main Norse. This is maybe surprising. He's gonna be choosing to go Hades. But overall, this is gonna be actually even better for him. Having the 2 safer gold mines, yeah, that's great. That is really great. And frankly, for him, doesn't entirely matter which one he's gonna be choosing. They are both somewhat similarly positioned. This one is also decently protected. He doesn't have forest fire against him, so I don't think that's any kind of problem for Helstrevich here. Not really. No. Not gonna be probably having too many things to talk about here, so you can already pull off the Fog of War, as Frozen Waste is spawning fairly decently, and you're just gonna know what it's all about. So literally just the only thing are the 1 or 2 gold mines. As first relic is gonna be Kopesh of Horus for faster heroes. Or kind of faster heroes, rather better heroes. The faster one is a bit different. Look at that. That's actually the second relic here as well. With Boots of Kick everything for the speed of the heroes. As if the game just like wanted to subconsciously nudge me that that was a correct relic that's gonna be in the game here. I don't know. Some kind of seer or whatnot. But much more importantly, we're gonna be of course expecting like a second TC therefore from Helstrevich, at least attempt to do so. So I'm really curious if he's gonna be successful, because if so, he's gonna be having pretty good secondary hunt. And even the gold mine is not gonna be in a too bad spot for him. His stun center will be quite a bit sweet and nice in general. But obviously Symptom is gonna be having all kinds of ideas how not to allow that and how to deny such a situation and position. But let's see, he's gonna be able to net himself some good advance. Probably should be. Most probably should be able to do so. So maybe switch into him, so that you can better understand what is gonna be the advance time. But considering he's right now going for the temple, and what he has on his account, it probably will be something like 415 maybe, 420. Somewhere along those lines. Maybe actually even a bit faster. Seems like it's gonna maybe even 05. I mean, like, should be having enough food here, even maybe to potentially force drop. Once he's gonna be right now ready. Definitely prefer right now the quick advances. We have definitely seen a lot more of them in the qualification for the tournament than kind of like commonly in the community games. They tend to be a bit slower in general, with for about like 405 plus something. And on the other side, it's probably not going to be entirely that incredibly quick, but also it's not gonna be any kind of way slow, which I'm definitely liking. This is a fairly high hunt map, so Helstrevich, with his experience with Norse, he's obviously gonna be well aware that there's a pretty big threat of the second age being quite a bit quicker for the opponent, and it's making sense, because the meta is absolutely fully Hades going second TC on practically any map, so you just want to be advanced in the forming and trying to disrupt that. So, good idea, good plan in general of course. So looking forward to maybe Symptom disrupting the TC number 2. Already aiming to the left, or is he just gonna aim in? Probably just for the relic, I guess. It's a bit too early to be getting prepared for the fight here, for the potential town center. That it definitely is. Well, Gyarados will be having some good chance. And I do actually wonder if maybe Symptom is gonna be trying to, instead of that, going for like the second TC himself. We have seen some kind of builds like that as well, especially from Mahde. If you remember in his previous match, in the first round of qualification against Spammed. But that was a bit different there. It was against Egyptian. And Erion, welcome to the stream. We are on 2-minute delay because you're casting a live match. between Sensui and Tiger was a bit earlier. And right now we continue, of course, in the session with more games of a match that was played basically concurrently, a bit earlier, but partly concurrently. Military Academy, Archery Range. Yeah, it seems like he's not gonna be even wanting to risk the second TC, which I'm definitely kind of like behind, because really the advance time was scary. And he doesn't have the ceasefire as the hard has to potentially cover for him. So I'm all about this type of play. Of course, early defense, and yep, that's unfortunately a bit of a lack of experience with the god. As you can see, he's gonna be unfortunately blocking himself with the Military Academy on the most important, actually, most important sentinel. Yeah, it'd be really nice to be having him in front of his base. But well, at least he's gonna be having the back ones on the gold mine in there. Yeah, and both of these relics are actually quite a bit cool, for especially the Loki. Did he already manage to get the speed? No, he didn't actually get it back yet. Oh, didn't get back. It was of course picked up right now by blue. Yep. So that's gonna be quite nice catch by Hells. Not entirely allowing that because of course the extra speed, he'll be just having so much of a hard time sprinting after the Formula 1 Hersiers. So yeah, maybe if he's gonna be Symptom getting lucky, he can be getting the one through right. But for him it's also a bit more challenging to even peel off any single Hersier to get the relic. Because obviously Loki always relies on practically all the guys being active from the early minutes. And it's just like every single one that is not gonna be in the fight is gonna be making quite a bit of a difference here. Quite a difference in the edge. And that's there. Shouldn't be having anything here on the other side, maybe just like pickaxe in some time. But at 4-minute advance it shouldn't be all that much of a priority. Can say now 44 pop limit for Hells. Symptom is gonna be currently at 53. So he already is gonna be a bit faster on the army logically, as he's gonna be right now getting ready for the Hall of Thanes. No, and something else, not entirely that much yet. Not entirely that much yet, and of course he's gonna be having some further problems, as he even has to be right now rebuilding his housing accommodations. Slight delay. Again, he does have still... Oh, he doesn't have to be using the Hersiers this time around. He's still gonna be having a starting Skraeling. That's not entirely a unit that he wants to be sending into the fight all that much necessarily. So he can just gonna serve as a builder for the time being. Quite a bit fine-ish. Thanos ready, and unfortunately still, right now the better damage versus Smith unit still being far away. It really would be also quite a nice relic against the Loki. So if Hellstravage has managed to scout that, so maybe can I look at that? Yeah, he did. He should be actually trying to jump for it as well with Ajax, instead of just like some kind of pursuit of one Hersier here. Because he's gonna be facing them. And really the classical age is a bit difficult against kind of like a full pop Loki. He might be finding himself in some kind of terrible situations. If there are gonna be way too many mythical spawns, he's gonna be having to face. As Ajax tends to be fairly easily killed. And obviously just getting Chiron, sure, he is quite a bit of a tank. Towers up. But yeah, he takes a lot of resources to respawn. And somewhat a decent time as well when he actually gets killed. So, and he's only one. So even though he's doing quite a high damage, just kind of like having only one unit that way, it does tend to suck to a certain degree. That it definitely does. Actually I kind of worked on that quite nicely. Lucian Temple is gonna be pretty sad currently. Not like that he will be missing the trolls too much, but obviously it's still something to keep in mind once he's gonna be trying to advance into possible heroic age. Mr. Symptom has, yeah, gonna be at this point in a bit of an interesting moment and place, because you can see a tower can't be attacking currently Chiron, and he's also very hard to attack in the first place. On the other hand, if this is not gonna be going well enough, but Restoration is gonna be fixing it, oh, that's a very good spawn here, then he might be having a hard time to even escape from that position. Of course, right now having to fight through that, I mean, like, Symptom didn't have that much of a choice. It was always going to be completely stupid fight, but this was a damn great result for Hellsravage. It's actually very well done. And put right now Symptom into quite an impossible situation, because he has practically lost kind of like a major portion of his starting army, and he's down to only 45 pop limit. Tons of gold, but he's still not gonna be in the heroic age, where he will be able to use it into the piggies. So, cool resources, but unfortunately quite a bit useless currently. As Hellsravage, 73 poppy. I guess it's not gonna be that close to possible advance just yet. This is gonna be just kind of a path towards the gold, frankly. Still do have quite an excellent second gold here for Symptom. So he's not gonna be completely right now screwed yet. And of course, with the gold mine on the left side, also housing some extra food here for Symptom, it would have been quite a nice spot for him to be at, if it weren't for Hellsravage being all over the place and finding himself some good success here in this game number 1 on Frozen Ways. Kinda curious what kind of gods are we gonna be seeing in the further games. There are gonna be some changes or not, but I'm kinda thinking that Hellsravage, he has been playing lately a lot of different gods, even Atlanteans in tournaments if I'm not mistaken, and the Greeks I think have been a bit more of a common choice for him, rather than playing with the Norse, which is maybe strange, because Norse are in a very good spot on the Voobly balance patch. Better in team games, we could be saying, but in 1v1s as well. Just gonna use Odin. Maybe instead of somebody like Loki, it's possibly gonna be having some better chances. But even Loki is fairly decent, but he is a bit more challenging, that is certainly true. That is a bit true, he does have some harder matchups in there. Okay, so that's gonna be unfortunately a problem with the gold for Symptom, and I'm not entirely certain if he really needed to go here. I'm fairly certain actually he didn't have to be. I guess he just kinda wanted to be extra careful about having some further resources in base, and maybe forgot about the second mine. Because he didn't have to be committing that way. I mean, like, he's in a pretty difficult position currently. 92 pop limit for health. Symptom is gonna be at, I can say it now, 69, so still quite a tough one, and basically no food for him. Few goals available. No, he's gonna have to probably farm pretty quickly. You can see even the berries are not gonna be supplying enough food anymore. Just some 154. Yeah. 154 for him. There we go. And he's actually starting with some even trolls. Or did he just gonna like finish with the temple? Seems like just maybe just finished again with the temple, it looks to me. And he's gonna be switching into some cavalry, which is making sense. And I'll be basically like giving up, unfortunately for him, on the power of the Hersirs. You can see it now all the way to the bottom. Oh, no, 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 no. That was actually the spawn from the Hersirs here to the south. The Valkyrie. That's what we heard the sound from. Fortunately, not enough army to be having some kind of decent coverage. But with a few reinforcements that are already nicking the villages here, this might be somewhat of a decentish fight. Unfortunately, a bit close, of course, to Hellsravage, so he's gonna be still having some chances of reinforcements. And even the Willy fighting could be right now helping him out. So still some kind of decent idle time, cost and forced. But on the base and in the base of Symptom, the pressure is apparently quite a bit unrelenting. Nope, don't want to be about now building a temple. Just already immediately wanting to be looking at the resources. But again, we don't have the observer in this game. So we have to be doing it the old school way. Symptom, no. He really should be getting even for the trolls by now, frankly. He's having a decent amount of wood. 100 favor. There's no reason not to be going for them. They are not like the best unit, but it's better than nothing, of course. Especially since he wasn't really having that much of a like, reached pop limit just yet. But Hellsravage, on the other hand, is gonna be currently poppy. And now the question is, second TC or the heroic is gonna be the aim. Because even through the complications, Symptom did manage to reach some kind of reasonable army. So possible commitments are probably not gonna be heading into anything too nice. Secondary squad, tertiary squad, that's a good army. Obviously without restoration already for Hellsravage, but still just the power of the Greek units is gonna be somewhat... No. Somewhat of a thing that's gonna be probably forcing him to take a double take. Right now for the Norse player. So he'll be maybe liking to get a TC possibly, tough to say. Let's maybe switch into his point of view for a moment. Oh, yeah. That's actually something he could do. He really could do. And James, again, I don't care what everybody else does. I don't do it on live games. And if you actually would be paying at least a bit of attention, you would be at least knowing that this is a recorded game. And, well, as I've just mentioned and also seen multiple times, there is no observer here. There's gonna be a game, or maybe games at the end, where there is gonna be an observer, so I'm gonna be putting it there because it's rats. But on the live games, not really. And if you don't like it, get the recorded game, watch it for yourself. That's a very easy help you can get from that. You probably have the game if you're watching the stream, so that's still the best way to watch. And you don't have to be relying on any kind of stream. And you're gonna be having better quality and whatever along those lines. And you're gonna be having apparently better replacement and better enjoyment of that yourself. Okay, medium Toxotai, that's actually a fairly nice one. You can see Symptom is gonna be at least getting the infantryman, but the problem is he doesn't entirely have. At this point against Hades, with such an amount of archers, he just doesn't have much of a good chance on Classical Age fight. He needs to be hoping to get into Heroic Age somewhat soonish and get the piggies into the fight. And he of course definitely also needs to be getting medium raiders. That's gonna be one of the small chances maybe that could be helping him out. Missing a house. Has he recognized that? Kinda like him though how he's trying to actually safeguard the gold mine at least a bit, and there's the house. He actually hasn't finished and he hasn't unfortunately even noticed that something is going on with that. It's a bit sad. On the other side we're gonna be also missing currently Plow, having Hendax and Pickaxe. And somewhat of actually interesting development here for Symptoms. He's trying to somewhat keep the TC from Hellsravage's hands, but he still would be wanting the one on the left side anyway. Much better looking at the gold position. Hell still very much visiting the gold. And that means, yeah, he's kind of like realizing that if he's not there, he's gonna be here. So he's playing it smart, Hellsravage. Just, of course, wants to be going back just in case. It's a correct style of gameplay. Medium Raiders also done, nice. But unfortunately, of course, it's a bit Sisyphean choice, or Sisyphean. Sophia's choice, rather. For Symptom, because he would be liking to get into Heroic Age, which costs him food, but at the same time, getting, for example, the Medium Raiders costs the same resources, but it's fairly important to even better stay alive now. So, hard choices for him. Aphrodite immediately. Coming up with Copper Shields, also getting research for Symptom. Yeah, that's definitely quite a bit important. That was an interesting path blocking attempt here. That was actually not a bad idea here with the wooden walls. Unfortunately, he was slightly slower than he needed to be. But the idea was absolutely correctamente for Symptom. It's gonna be coming from Age of Empires 2. He has also been playing quite a bit of that. Currently, he's more into AoE 4, but he has also played AoE 2. For example, he has played in the Nations Cup, and I have streamed his game. It was United Kingdom D, I think he was. I've streamed like 1 or 2 matches with Symptom, where he was playing. I do have it here somewhere in the highlights, but currently with the fight, you can say it now, of course, not gonna be having any further upgrades too much, but for example, heavy Toxotai with Copper Mail for Hellsravage, now that's gonna be quite a bit of a pain, and of course, with the commitment by Symptom, and obviously not even the Heroic Age still being through, there's not much of a good at this point reason to believe that he can be changing the course of this game, especially with the Radiant right now coming up, found in a man line. This was well played by Hellsravage. Well done. Abandoning the second TC idea based on the quick advance and just gonna go in for the Classical Age fight, which worked rather excellently. So well done. Let's therefore have a look into post-game, maybe some economical upgrades at the end, Hendax and Pickaxe. We are going to be having, on the other hand, nothing for Symptom. He was a bit more focused really on the military, but from the early stages, really, Hellsravage was somewhat on top of the game. But you can see that Symptom was still somewhat keeping up. The difference in the score is just kind of letting us know it wasn't that much of a disaster, but looking at the resources, it was a bit of a different story. 600 and 3,600 more at about, what was it, 16 minutes? That's fairly significant difference between them. Military count as well. Even though it's still positive for Symptom, That's because he was having some 3 pops in there. And he just, fortunately, by this time when he wasn't in the heroic cage and actually the opponent was, then that's obviously quite a bit of a terrible news and situation for him. Probably did get some extra trolls actually made. He was getting spawns of Ainear and Valkyrie, maybe even something more, but he didn't unfortunately have that many great fights with the Hersers. Okay then, GG.